everybody. This is day 21 of playing 100 games in 100 days of Pathways to Adventure, a new tabletop RPG system designed by yours truly, John Horry. And we are joined by two wonderful people today. Krishan, who is back with us, playing a newly named version of his old character. Would you like to explain your character?
Yeah. So I am playing a jeweler shaman who is a celestial, and his name is Corn, and he's just a chill dude just trying to vibe.
I love
Uh,
it. Rocking a spear and a shield and some chainmail
yeah,
armor, looking all holy, looking all fly. I love it. All right.
yeah.
And then we've got our next friend, and you're playing what character?
Um, a kitten?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kitsune, named Copper, and your class is a sorcerer, I believe. Is that right?
He's a little shy.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, you don't have to talk on stream if you don't want to, for sure. Um, I find most people forget about it after a while, anyways. So, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
just get started. So we are in an arena. And what would have possessed your character, do you think, to have come to an arena to fight for money? What reason would you want to risk life and limb? Well, not quite life, because they do tend to, fight to the pain or revive people who die quickly. They have clerics on staff. So what would bring you to the arena, Delson?
What would bring me to the arena? Uh, to prove myself. Uh, to prove that I have what it takes. Because I remember being told, what's it called? I remember being told that to leave the paradise, I had to prove myself, uh, prove that I could survive out in the world outside of the city, right?
Yeah,
So that's part of why I'm here to prove what that I have what it takes, that I have what it takes, and see how other people are doing, see what they're working with.
okay, perfect. That is a great, great reason. So we are in Lost in Paradise setting, and you are taking the trial of the showing. You've already passed the first two trials of telling and of knowing, and so this is your last trial to become a full-fledged citizen. So you find yourself in the grand arena called the Cage, and we are here ready to face off against three other adventurers that likewise are trying to prove their mettle, that they are capable adventurers and would be able to scrap with the best of them. And so you're joined by Copper, our friend that we just described, and another third person who you're not too familiar with named Tinker Skull. And he's got an abomination with him, which he introduced as Abomination Steve. And Tinker is a bit of a huckster. He kind of talks like this. And so he says, I ain't the most defensive of people. So I'm gonna let you guys take the lead on that. I got Abomination Steve here to back you up, but I certainly will not be the first one in, because I am small and fragile. Let me change his size. He's a fairy, and so he is fluttering around as a tiny creature. If you can zoom in and see him, he's goofy looking, and so he's wielding a small rapier that he stole from a wizard and is wearing very, very tiny but form-fitting leather armor to help protect himself. And so that's the team we're working with. He's a necromancer. So we've got a shaman, a necromancer, and a sorcerer that walk into a bar. All right. And so facing off against you across the way, you see a very rough-looking tort person, which is a turtle person, carrying a big axe, and he looks like he's seen better days. And then you see a dwarf in heavy armor with a mace and a shield. And lastly, you see a little kobold that can fly with wings that has a bow and looks a little nefarious. He looks a little tricksy. And so that's who you find yourselves facing off against in the grand arena of the cage. And so we'll learn the game by playing. So the first thing you do when there's going to be combat is you roll for initiative. And so the easiest way to roll is to, on the very bottom left of your screen, there is a section of numbered squares that go from 1 to 0. If you click on one of them, it'll bring up a macro window. And then in the command box of that window, you can type /R 1d6 and save the macro at the bottom left. Yep, nice. And then it will let you roll by just clicking a button, because all the rolls in the game are just a d6 plus some modifiers.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, you would.
Perfect.
I keep getting that one, so I'm gonna be real with you. So,
Oh yeah. It's gonna be like that today. I feel it. Feel it in my bones. We're gonna get strings of nat ones and sixes. It just be like that some days. Um,
oh,
For those of you who watched yesterday, we had a finale where an abomination rolled three sixes in a row, a 0.4% chance of happening, and managed to finish off a knight that was going to kill its master. And so Abomination Terror really stole the show at the end yesterday. And so we'll see what happens with Abomination Steve today. And so we will go ahead and just roll fresh to roll for initiative, and I'll tell you what you add to your score. I'll roll for the enemies first. Ooh, they actually rolled high for once. And so I'm just going to do an average of theirs, so that's going to be a roll of an 8.
okay.
Okay.
And so once
Okay,
you roll,
so rolling for initiative, basically, whoever has the higher number attacks or does whatever they want to do first.
yes, correct.
So for us, it's bad that they have a high roll. We want to have a higher roll than them. So we can go first and do what we need to do before they can do what they need to do.
Yep. Especially at low levels, it can be real spicy whoever gets to go first. And so
Alright.
with that said, go ahead and give us a roll, and I'll tell you what the modifier is. For copper,
Alright.
it's going to be your acuity stat. Ooh, nice rolls. Rolling a whole bunch. We'll take the fives. That's
Yeah.
fine. And so actually, you guys are going to go before them, I think. So copper, what is your acuity stat? I think it's a 4 or a 5. Or actually, yours might be lower. It might be a 2.
Um, hold
It'll
on.
be under the mind stat on the bubbles. I believe it's the bottom bubble, under mind.
Okay. Hold on.
Oh yeah, I see acuity. Left circle, uh, acuity. Mine is 0 though, so
For you, yours will actually be your attunement since you're a spirit user.
oh, alright.
So I think it's a +4 for you. So
Okay.
I think you'll go first.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
It
+4.
is 2.
All right. So it's going to be Delson, and then enemies, and then uh, Copper, and then I still need to roll for Tinker Skull. He goes first. And he rolled a natural 6.
Okay.
All right. Tinker says, "So I got an idea. Can you give Steve a bit of a oomph buff, either giving him some ward powers or buffing up his damage, and I'll send him in and let him tear people up from a distance. Especially
Alright.
that wily one. I don't trust that one with the wings down there. Never trust people with wings that are larger than you. That's what Mama always says.
Okay, so I'm going to use the spirit of hmm,
I think it's
wait.
bears for the melee folks.
Yeah. So grant spirit of bear will grant empower martial only,
Yep.
double carry capacity for 6 rounds.
Awesome. So Steve is super buffed up. You see his muscles bulge. You see a spiritual bear roar out from him as he arcs his back, roaring with the bear. And Tinker says, or sorry, on your next turn that will happen. My bad, my bad. You begin to chant that.
Yeah.
And so Tinker says, we'll let them try to close the distance on us, and I'll blast him from here for now. And so he moves to get line of sight, I believe. Yep, and he is within range. And so Tinker's like, bada bing, bada boom, eat some FEMAs, motherfucker. And so shoots out 3 bones at this enemy, which have fairly high accuracy. That'll hit. That'll crit. And that will miss. So if you roll a 1, it always fails. It's called an epic fail. If you roll a 6, it always succeeds. It's called an epic success. And so we have an epic success against this guy down here, and he is actually knocked out due to all that damage and is at death's door. And so he would have been at death's door not with the first bolt, but with the second one. And so the third bolt flies out to hit him, so he has to make a death roll. We see if he lives. He is still alive. That could have been taking someone out in round 1. All right, fun stuff with Tinker. So then he moves back to where he was, about right here. And so to explain about Death's Door, so when your hit points, your health points hit 0, you enter a state called Death's Door, where your character can die. You have to roll at the end of your turn to see if you die, or you have to roll anytime you get hit. And so technically, actually, that last hit missed, so it shouldn't have. You should have had to roll. I messed up on that one. Um, but yeah, since it was 3 bolts, if that last one had hit, it would have damaged him, and so he would have had to roll to see if he survived. And so on his turn, if he doesn't have any way to heal himself, then he will potentially die. And so sometimes it's a good idea to keep attacking enemies that are at death's door to finish them off. Sometimes it might be better to go deal with the other enemies that are still alive. It's all what you feel is tactically the best move. And so we will continue the turn order. So Tinker's gone. Delson is gone. You started to chant. And did you do any movement, Delson, or do you want to stay where you're at?
I want to get in front of Copper to protect him.
Okay.
So,
All right. I love it. And if you wish, you could move even further if you spend a stamina point. For you, you've regained 4 stamina, or excuse me, 2 stamina every turn because you just buffed somebody, giving you a +1 stamina to equal 4. And so if you
all
wish,
right.
you could dash to get a bit further in if you wanted to really get out there in front. Um, Another thing is, since you started chanting, you're able to throw your spear and do a spear attack if you wish. If you can get
All
close
right.
enough. I think you have to be within 12. So you'd have to get right here.
Projectile attack maneuvers. Barrage or leaping shot.
Yep,
Yeah. Zeke +3 weapon damage per 1 distance leaped.
that could be fun. I think it still has a
All
range
right.
of 12, is that right? Or does it say range of
Uh,
6?
6. Yeah.
Okay, so you'd have to get a little too close probably to get there. You'd have to get to right here, which I think you have enough movement to do that. Yeah, you should be able to. And then you can leap in and throw a spear at Anth.
All
So,
right.
so you jump
So
3
I'm
squares
gonna.
forwards.
Yeah.
Boom. And then you hurl
And
your
I throw my
spear.
spear.
All right, may the dice be in your favor. He's not particularly heavily defensive. He is a barbarian, or a berserker, excuse me. And, they tend to fight without armor, but he's also a tort, which does get a little bit of bonus armor from its shell. So hopefully you roll well.
Alright.
And that's a crit.
Do
And
do I have to do +5 or
nope, because you rolled a crit, it's going to automatically hit and do double damage. So let's read the damage type and see how much you did. I think it's 10 and then double, but I could be wrong. It's your physique score plus
physique
6.
3 weapon damage per 1 distance leaped.
Yeah, that's right. So you leaped
So
3 distance, and so that's going to
yeah,
be 9 plus your physique.
9 plus physique. Okay. So 9 plus 4 is 13.
All right, and you double it because you got a crit, and he's instantly downed already.
Yay!
Man, we are just cleaning up shop on these guys. Blech. So they're not dead, but they're in the process of dying. Um, and then it is the enemy's turn now. So fun stuff. You ran all the way from over here to leap in and throw a spear. That was pretty awesome. I love it. And your spear, of course, immediately returns to your hand because it's a spiritual spear. And Blunt Force kind of blinks and says, "Oh, Christ, what are we dealing with here?" And he starts to rush forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then dashes to get closer to you. And he wants to interrupt your chant. So he goes for a bash maneuver against you, which is a tactical maneuver. So you have to give me an avoidance roll to see if you can avoid his bash. So it's just a d6
Alright.
plus your, on the top left, you'll have your avoid, which I think is a plus
Top left.
2.
Okay. +2.
Yeah. And you definitely avoid it. You block it with your
Yeah.
shield. He tries to, and he just fails miserably at it. And so you see his mace glow, and he starts chanting something. Um, and actually, he can't do that. Never mind, because he started to chant something, walked forward, and tried to bash you. That's what he did. And so we're not sure what he's chanting necessarily, but you do understand it because you have the ability yourself. He is casting Heal Harm. He's reciting the Heal Harm chant, and you see him say, "By the All Fathers, old and new, I call forth a blast of healing, and I shall send you reeling." Is what he says, and then he goes to bash you, and that is his turn. And they each take one of their potions because they're smart adventurers, and that will end their turns. But they drink a potion to get back to 10 health each. And it is Copper's turn to blow people up.
Alright. Okay, so do you have the sorcerer dock open or
Yep.
okay? So that's mostly where your attacks and stuff like that is gonna be. And
Yeah, at the bottom of you'll see the spell attacks and chant attacks. The main difference between a spell and a chant is a chant finishes on the next turn. So that's what Delson and the cleric are doing. They're chanting to have something happen on the next turn. So you can interrupt people that are chanting by hurting them. Um, or in the case of this, we tried to bash to interrupt. And so, with that said, you have spells that instantly happen on your turn, or you could chant a really big, powerful spell to happen on next turn. And you can also spend one of those special charges to make them have a longer range, bigger area, however you want to do it.
Okay. Um. Uh, let's see.
I needed to scroll all the way down. Okay.
attack. Attack. Uh, uh, what? This is.
All right,
Well,
so I'll make this easier on you. Okay, so you okay, so you see a text spell all the way at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Choose which one. Okay, so on the left, all the way at the left column or row is the name of it. Yeah. Which one of those do you want to do?
I can give you a brief
Um,
description of them if that helps.
yeah.
Okay, so Arcane Bolt is your real cheap spell that just does a little bit of damage from far away. It's really, really long range. It's 20 squares on the battlefield, which will hit almost anybody from where you're standing. Um, Arcane Barrage fires off 3 arcane bolts and takes only 1 mana. Arcane Eruption does a huge area of effect, and it blows up people within a 4 foot radius. So I'll show you how big that is because it's surprisingly big. So you could like throw that over here, and it would hit both of these guys. Um,
Uh,
and then Arcane Spiral Beam is really fun. It shoots a long 3 foot wide beam. So that would be like shooting a beam like this that goes on for a very long distance, up to about that far. So you probably don't use your beam because you'll hit Delson, but your Arcane
Nope.
Blast would hit 2 people.
Please don't kill me. Uh, maybe, maybe wait on that like at least a session before we do that.
Yeah.
Uh,
um. Okay. Uh. I. This arcane erupts.
All right. Do you want to use it right between Ant and Blunt Force?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you cast your Arcane Eruption. Do you change its element or do you just keep it as pure arcane damage?
pure magic, pure
I'll.
magic, or do you turn it to like fire, electricity? What you want to do?
Could even be a bunch of rocks.
Bunch of rocks is insane.
uh. I'll just keep it as arcane.
Okay. So you fire off a blast of energy. It hits a point right here, and then it immediately expands outward in a big explosive force. And you get to roll your dice to see if it hits, or if they manage to block it. And I
Okay.
believe it has a +5 to hit. So it'll be your dice roll +5 +2 from your attunement.
Uh,
Oh no, that is unfortunate. I'll let you re-roll it once. I'll give you the DM's first advantage roll. So go ahead and roll it one more time. So with advantage, it lets you. Oh, there we go. Now that's better. Okay, so that's going to critically hit and knock both of them into death's door with a very powerful blast. These poor guys are just not having a good time. Awesome. So our mages are blowing people up as mages like to do. So with them out of the picture, there is only one enemy left standing right over here. We are at the top of the round with Tinker Skull, and your chant finishes. He sends Abomination Steve, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, to rush out over here, and you manage to buff him up with your Empower. And he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and spends a stamina point to rush in. And he starts to flurry at this poor, poor 10 health rogue. And so he's going to roll 3 attacks and see if they hit. That's a miss. That is a hit. And that is a miss. But that one hit is enough to knock him into death's door. and you hear a siren go off. Brr, brr, brr. And it looks like we have a winner for our first match of the trial of showing. What is your group's name?
Oh, hey, yeah, what's her name?
Oh, you choose it.
I choose it. Brilliant Diamonds. I don't know.
Oh my
I love it.
god.
Diamonds are
Yeah,
forever.
yeah, that was not the best name. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Let's see. So we got Tinker. So tinkering with diamonds. Let's see. Um, the blasting diamonds. Maybe. I don't know. Hmm. Oh wait, what do you have? Oh, he would have 16. He still would have died though. 16. Okay. And so after the match, they all come forwards and they shake hands with you and are actually really good sports about it. And they say, "Oh my goodness, I've never seen magic so powerful." Anth says, looking over at Copper. And Blunt Force says, "Ah, we would have had you if I could have finished my chant, but that explosion was just chef's kiss, I will admit." And Kitlu looks at Tinker and says, "You just had to kill the best person on the team first. I know how it is. I know. You got the jump on me that one time, but never again. You little fairy." And he spits at him. All right. So Abomination Steve kind of growls at Kit, or excuse me, at Kitlu, and he kind of backs off a little bit. And oh, the guy needs to be friendly, not hostile. All right. And so you guys have won your first match, and it's gone well.
Yay.
You guys did great. And so you each receive 1,000 credits. You are making the money right now already for your victory. And then you hear, "The next match will begin in 10 minutes. Make your preparations." And so you'll get to rest for 10 minutes, which means your morale point will be back, and your mana points are all back for sure. And basically, we get to go in at full resources. And so, and as a surprise match, because the match went so well and was so lethal on both sides, we are going to have a six-man fight versus creatures. And they're like, "What? Huh? What?" And so they are going to join your side for the next fight. And so Anth says, "Well, I guess me and Blunt should be up in the front. We tend to take hits pretty well, despite your explosion against us. I assure you we're quite sturdy." He bangs on his shell. And Blunt Force bangs on his shield with his mace. "Aye, I'll make sure they never get to you." And then Tinker has Abomination Steve over here. And so you are able to make preparations if you want to buff people up ahead of time, either with your wards or your other buffs. You can do that in preparation for the fight since they last for 10 minutes.
All right. Let me see which one I want to do because I think that we're gonna do very well in this next fight.
I think so too.
My brother doesn't think so. He is hating. Yeah, he's a hater. I'm babysitting a little bit.
It's all good.
Um,
And as a reminder for Kitsune, it won't show up on your character sheet, but you do have that enthrall ability that you can cast for free, and it tries to put people into a stupor where they can't move. and the next person that attacks him gets a free critical hit once you do decide to wake him up.
Okay.
So you can do some really funny stuff. I saw one time where someone buffed up an abomination with the double damage feature, and then they enchanted or they enthralled an enemy, and the abomination went in and backstabbed it for a critical hit of 80 damage. So you can pull off some crazy stuff if you work as a team.
Okay.
And we have 5 minutes before the next round.
Oh, um,
It looks like our competitors are getting warmed up. They've taken their formations.
yeah.
All right, so which buffs were you casting and on whom?
Um,
I don't think Copper will have any buffs.
I
Um,
don't think so.
yeah, all your stuff's more offensive in nature. So for Delson, who we buffing with what?
Uh, okay, so I'm gonna buff. Uh, wait, do the buffs count towards magic if they're a projectile one?
Um, if you buff them with the projectile buffing one, then it
Spirit
would
of Eagle.
the eagle, yeah. So you could buff Kitley with
Okay,
Spirited Eagle because he does a lot of ranged physical attacks.
yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay. So you cast it on him. You hear a cry of an eagle. He roars a little bit, kind of flutters around. He's like, oh, I like this. I can see so far. I can see. Oh God, it's frogs. Frogs? What do you mean frogs? And then three giant toads leap out of the gates.
Oh, can I make one a pet? Can I like
Oh,
hey? So you wouldn't want a pet frog? How big
Pet
are the
frog.
frogs? How big are the
They
frogs?
are gigantic, actually. They are huge, rather. So they take up 3 by 3 squares. You could technically mount one and ride it, if you have the ability to do so. And Kitlu certainly does as a rogue. They can actually do that quite well. And I'm trying to think who else has climb. I know Ant has climb to climb up on things. I don't believe you have climb to get up on them, so it'd be kind of hard for you to climb on top of them. You could, it would just be a lot slower. Uh, but I don't think you have animal friendship stuff on your list. So as far as charming it to be your friend, probably wouldn't work.
Okay. So this is a lesson about D&D, Tokyo. You have to think outside the box sometimes. Okay. So what I'm gonna ask you to do is, I want you to enthrall one of the frogs, and we can make it our little horse.
oh,
Yes,
That's
we can make
fun.
it a horse.
The giant frog horse. I love it.
We can make it a horse.
So which one do you want to try to enthrall? The one that's closest to you, maybe?
yeah.
Okay. So the fight starts in 10 seconds. Everyone take your positions. Do you do any more buffs, or are we just sticking with the one buff?
Sticking with the one buff. We'll see
Okay.
how we go.
All right. Blunt Force does make one suggestion. He says, I know you're a shaman of some regard. If you could shield me, I will rush in first and make sure that none of us are attacked. So he's asking for you
All
to
right.
do your shaman charge, your spiritual charge, to put a ward on him to make him stronger, defensively at least.
All right. Yeah, I'm down.
All right, so you start chanting that before the fight happens, right at the beginning. And on your first turn of the fight, your ward will go off, so we'll go ahead and put it on him. So let's read your heal harm chant and see how much you're warding him for. I think it's in like the 44 range, but I could be wrong.
Heal harm is uh wording him for.
And so, however
Uh,
much it says heal, it'll actually put a ward on him.
okay, so 3 times willpower plus 30 heal. So 3 times.
I think your willpower's
Okay,
4.
let me go to willpower. So
I
it
think
should be
it's
4.
4 or 5,
Yeah,
one
it's
of the
4.
two. Okay, so
It's
that's
4.
12,
12 plus 30 is 42.
42. Okay, plus 16 is, wow, he's at 58 health points. Nice.
Hey,
So that's a lot
that's
better than
good.
16. All right, so we will
Yeah.
roll for everybody. We'll do blunt. You rolled terrible. We'll do tinker. We'll do ant. Ant rolled okay. The enemies actually rolled okay. That's not good for y'all. Though they only got a +2 though. They're not
Oh
very
no.
quick on their feet, thankfully. And so he's rolled 7. Ant rolled 8. Kind of hard when you get a lot of creatures in one fight. He rolled pretty low. So... Oh no, he rolled less.
Yeah. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna use that to my advantage.
it let everybody else that's rough go in first. I love it. All right, so enemies are 7, Ant is 8, Abomination with him is going to be, oh, words and things. It's going to be 5 for Tinker. All right. And then Blunt rolled a 2, and he's going to be lower, so he's with Tinker. Let's see. All right, and then last but not least, we've got Delson. And what was your roll for Copper? I think we still need yours.
He's on mute. So
Oh, I can roll for him. Yeah, I rolled good. He's going to be up there with Ant.
I think when they do it, put myself on mute.
It's all good. It's all good.
it's all right.
Yeah. So you rolled real good, or I rolled real good for you. So you and Ant are up first. And so Ant says, you get the top one, I'll get the middle. And he starts rushing in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he spends a stamina point to dash inwards, and then he actually blocks. He goes for a defensive posture with his weapon, trying his best to hold the line, as it were. And so, Copper, you're up.
Um, let's see. Hmm, en- 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 what is it called again?
Or
Enchanted?
enthrall.
Enthralled.
Yeah, do you want to just rush in forward
Yeah.
and enthrall one of them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
Hey, horse frog.
yeah, horse frog. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I believe enthrall has 12 range. So that's exactly 60 feet, which is what you need. You don't have to get any closer. Awesome. And so you're using a spell that the enemy has to try to resist. So I roll for the enemy, and it failed spectacularly. So your frog over here just looks really confused. Its tongue falls out of its mouth. It's looking like it's seeing butterflies, and you see it trying to snap at the butterflies that are flying around it. It is completely motionless. Awesome turn. All right, and so the enemies get to go next, and this one right here goes to make a ranged tongue attack against Anth, a fairly accurate one, but thanks to him blocking, it does not connect. And then the other frog does the same thing, tries to eat him, and the tongue flies out and misses him and just hits a lot of dirt and does not look like it tastes well. So then this frog leaps in to try to smash him and belly flops a little bit too early, as some frogs are wont to do. So the other frog does the same thing and tries to smash him with a leap. Not the most creative of enemies, and they both fail. And they are very much distracted at Ant. They're not the smartest of creatures. And now it is Tinker's turn and Blunt. And so Blunt rushes forwards with his um, very high health points right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Dashes in, spending a stamina point, and he goes to attack twice with what attack will he be using? I think he's just going to use a Precise Strike. So he rolls a 3 and a 3, and both of those hit. His Precise Strike is a physique score of 4 plus 6, so he just did 20 damage to the frog. All right, which we've now seen has quite a bit of hit points, but does not appear to have very much armor. So fairly easy to hit, but very tanky. Definitely blowing it up with high damage stuff that's less accurate seems to be a good plan. Alrighty, and so that is their turn. So Abomination Steve gets told to rush in down here. He's got enough movement to get there, and he goes for 2 backstabs on this guy. That's a hit, and that's a hit. So that is 40 total damage. Ouch. He hits him twice for 2 powerful backstabs of 20 damage. Okay, awesome, awesome turns. And then lastly, but not leastly, we have Delson coming up. Oop, there's my mini pig.
All right, so I want to get on the little frog. I want to get on the frog.
All right.
Okay, so which one is the one that's enthralled?
That's one with the little dazed symbol up here. So it's pretty far away from you, so you probably couldn't get to it on your first turn.
Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna attempt to get on the frog.
All right. So you rush 6 squares
frog
that
boy.
direction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I continue moving or?
Yeah, you can spend a stamina point to move 6 more.
Okay. 2, 4, 6.
Okay. And so you still got your 2 attacks, or you can still chant.
So what I want to do is I want to okay.
If you do chant, you can also do 1 attack with your spear as well.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to do a divine bolt. So that's 3 times willpower, which I think is 4, but I'm gonna check again. Okay, so 3 times 4 is 12 plus 27, so 39.
Yep, that'll happen on your
Spirit
next
damage.
turn.
What does choice spirit damage mean?
So I forgot to remove the choice. Let me go fix that real quick. Because it normally is choice divine damage, but for shamans you only do spirit damage.
Okay. So I want to do yeah, that's what I want to do, and it has 20 range. And then I want to do another leaping shot. So
Okay. I love it. So you leap
just
in
so
and throw your spear.
leap by 3, right?
Yep.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3.
It's a
And
baby.
then I want to check so my physique is 4. Still trying to like kind of get used to switching between all of this. So bear
Yeah,
with me a
because
little bit.
it's different between your physique and your willpower for sure.
So 3 weapon damage. So it's gonna be 4 plus 3 weapon damage. So then it would be 3 times 3, so 13. Yeah, it's 13.
Okay, so you rush in, do 13 damage to the big guy. Oh, did you already roll to attack?
Oh no, I have not.
You'll probably hit, but you never know. Yep, that's close enough to hit. So 13 more
All
damage to
right.
this guy, so he's at 27 hit points. Assuming you were attacking the injured one.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there we go. All right, so that is everybody's turn for round 1. And we're off to a very furious 10 seconds. One of the toads is already down, one of the toads is sitting there chasing ethereal butterflies, and the other toad's looking very dissatisfied at its belly flop. We are on to the next 10 seconds of the fight. All right, so Anth and Copper, you're up. So Anth, being surrounded by enemies, goes for a whirlwind attack called Bladestorm that hits everything around him. So let's see if he flubs it or does well. He flubs it, and he goes for the second one, and that one will hit for a certain amount of damage that I need to go reference. It is physique plus 9, so 4 plus 9, or 5 plus 9 actually, so 14 damage to each. So that is 14. 14. 14 this way. All right. A flurry of attacks, and unfortunately he misses his first one, but comes around to swing with his second one to hurt both frogs quite severely. And that is Ant's turn. So Copper, what we doing?
Hmm. I would like to do Arcane Barrage.
All right. Which one we shooting? Or you can split it
Um.
between them as well.
Okay, let's split it between them.
All right. So probably shooting the first one at Giant Toad over here that's injured. So let's roll that attack. You get to add plus 10 and then plus 2. Plus 12 to the hit. Which means you're pretty much guaranteed to hit unless you roll oh, he's dead. All right, so you blow up this frog right here, and with your first bolt, and then you have 2 bolts remaining for the other frog. It slumps over and starts to die. So you can roll twice more, and that'll be for the next 2 bolts. And that'll certainly hit.
Mm,
I think you do 11
yeah.
damage per bolt. So one more, we should be good.
Okay.
Does the dice give you trouble?
Yeah. Uh, look.
There it goes. And it's another hit for 22 damage total. And the sorcerer is out for blood. We see a critical hit on the first frog going right between its head, which actually instantly slays the frog. And it starts to disappear. And you notice instead of like dying, it kind of dematerializes into blue energy sparkles as it disappears from sight.
Okay.
Oops. Clicked the wrong thing. Alrighty. And then, so that's Anth and Copper. Good turns all around. And so now it's the enemy's turns. The giant toad, looking between the two of you, decides to try to eat Delson. And so
I'm
Delson,
okay with it.
I need you to give me a very good resistance roll, or excuse me, avoidance roll. I hope you roll well.
Oh
Oh
no.
no, you are consumed by frog, and you are
Oh,
currently in frog
please.
belly. And then
Oh,
Ant has to do the same thing as it tries to eat him. Oh god.
Oh.
Bump,
oh no.
bump.
We're all getting eaten. Ah,
Bump, bump. Blunt Force has to not get eaten, and he's okay. That's too funny. All right, and so that's 3 stamina for Froggy, and then it goes to try to jump up in the air and belly flop on Blunt Force. And that actually barely hits, and so Blunt Force takes 20 points of damage, but thankfully is shielded by your Shroud, and so only falls to 38 hit points, and is still shielded by your spiritual Shroud of Awesomeness. Cool, cool. And Other Frog is still asleep. So you wanted a horse, unfortunately you got eaten by said horse. Alright, and that's the enemy's turns. It is now Tinkerer, Blunt, and Delson. Blunt is no, he attacked twice last time. So he tries to attack this thing twice with Precise Strike to try to get you guys out of there. So they take 20 damage, they barf you up. And they are definitely taking more than 20 damage. They're in fact taking 30 damage. And you are both barfed back up. And before you take the acid damage. Very lucky. Blit. Blit. Alright, that is his 2 attacks. And so Tinker Skull goes up next and decides to have Abomination Steve flank the guy and do 2 more backstabs on him. Oh, that's gonna hurt. First backstab takes him out. 40 damage. Emma, what's the matter, Miss Piggy? Come here. Come here. You're okay. Come here. Oh, I still need to feed you. That's right. That's why you're. No. Did I feed you already? I'll have to feed her again, just to be
okay.
sure. But yes, so you hear the sirens blare off. And it seems we have yet another victory for Team Blasting Diamonds and the associated friends that helped along the way. And the frogs suddenly dematerialize, and you realize they were not
Oh,
real creatures. They were creatures created by some druid. So sadly,
the frog
they would not.
horse.
Your frog horse would have not worked, but it was a good try. You're like, my frog
Okay.
pony. You can find them out in
My
the wild,
frog
though.
pony. Okay, that's one of my next plans.
All
Find a
right,
frog horse.
find a frog horse. I love it. Your whole party could ride atop a frog.
Yay!
Now, son,
We
if
gonna
you
get it
adopt a
done.
frog, you have to be the one to feed it and clean up after its giant shits.
I mean, that that's worth it. That's worth it.
All right, 2,000 credits to each victor. So you guys now have 3,000 credits to buy and spend stuff with. Awesome. You guys making the monies. All right, and then you hear clapping coming from the top of the
Yay!
rafters.
Hearing.
And a very buxom red-headed woman with an overly large greatsword pops off from the top of the arena over here, right here, and congratulates you and introduces herself as one of the 7 matrons of Maiden's Fall, where you find yourselves. And she says, I am Llewellyn Fangbreaker, and you have done well on this day and have passed your trial. But should you wish, you may challenge the arena's champion if you feel bold. I would. You will, of course, not be harmed beyond repair, but our champion does reign undefeated. I leave this choice to you. You stand to gain 10,000 credits apiece should you win.
So, Copper, do you think we could take them?
Um. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go
Oh,
for it.
I bet.
Awesome. You guys have had a flawless victory so far. Yeah, no one took damage on your team. That's really awesome, actually. All right, so we'll reset our positions roughly to where we were before. And Blunt's shield does fade because it will have been 10 minutes. So we'll put him back to his normal health points of 16, I think it is. Then shield fades. Ant says, I saw my life flash before my eyes in the belly of that beast. It was very boring. I need to take up a hobby. Perhaps crocheting. And Blunt's like, yeah, glad I got you out of that situation. Digesting in frog juices probably would not be a good story to tell as your final, uh, the bard's final tale of your
Final tale.
adventures. Yeah, your swan song. There you
Well,
go.
I just wanted the frog course. I don't regret my actions or what happened in that situation. Anything for frog course.
Anything for Frog Wars. Weird golden life, but at least you have a purpose. All right. So Tinker's like, Abomination Steve, you did well. You backstabbed with the best of them, and this is why I love you. You are my best Build-A-Bear ever. Or Build-A-Buddy. And Steve just kind of walks over and kind of gives him a big lick of disgustingness, and then walks back to the former position. All right, so Tinker goes up here with Copper, and you were wondering who this champion might be. And once again, you hear, you have 10 minutes to prepare. Make your preparations now. And so you've only used one morale point in that last fight, so you will regain it. And
Okay.
you have 5 minutes left of preparations. And I need preparation to go
Okay.
get this character set up. So if you guys want to take a nice, like, real life 5 minute break, if you need to use the bathroom or grab a drink, this might be a good time to do so.
All right.
As I pick up her notes.
All right. So Tokyo, how have you been enjoying your little character?
Oh no.
You're furry.
Oh, I regret that.
You regret it already? Hey, no worry. My character's just a god or a wannabe god. So
Yeah, you've been playing that shaman really well. They're really powerful when played right.
yeah. So I'm gonna think of a game plan for against this against this champion we're gonna fight.
What kind of beast or creature or person do you think it's going to be?
I feel like he's gonna be some big, not not gigantic like the frogs were, but this big, like buff warrior who's just been uh who's been trained in combat, who's prepared for just about anything.
I love it.
Okay, so I already know what I'm gonna try and do.
Got the plan started.
Yeah, I have a couple plans, but just I don't know if I'll be able to.
Oh, by the way, have you guys heard of Hero Forge?
Uh-uh.
It's a super cool
I
website where
think
you
I
can
have.
design your miniatures and characters that you play with. The one I'm using right now, I designed them on there, and they are super awesome. Very, very fun.
Oh. Oh.
Alrighty, so about a minute left into the preparation time, you see Leolin walk out. She's got her sword, she's wearing her stuff. If you zoom in, you can see a good picture of her over here. And she says, I will be your opponent today. I have been undefeated, and this is why I reign as the matron of the yard. I will not hold back, as I expect you shall not either. Do come at me with your full force. And in fact, I'll let you have the first round. And she assumes a defensive position with her greatsword and says, kind of does the whole hand motion come at me thing, and just waits. And she is blocking.
All right. So, what's our game plan? I look towards Copper.
Mm. Okay. So I could do it
Enthrall?
it can enjoy.
Yep, you have another free use of it for a given day. So Tinker's like, yeah, that's a good idea. If we enthrall her, uh, they don't have the best of defenses, warriors, when it comes to magic. They're pretty okay at it, but you might be able to succeed. And if that happens, she's a sitting duck for the first one to strike her. And if we buff up Abomination Steve, he can get one of those vicious backstabs in and get a good start to the fight. I kind of like that plan. What's your plan, Delson?
Feel like the best course of action for me right now is to try and debuff her, get some way of making her weaker than she already is.
I
So
like it. I like it.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Curse of Darkness to make her blind. So
Perfect. And I can hex her and try to weaken her as well. I like this plan. And then we just get the big mooks, I mean, our illustrious big guys around her, and we just all strike her down. I like it. It all hinges on Copper landing that spell, though, so best of luck, Copper. All right. So she's just standing out here. She walks slowly forwards and says, "Come now. Come and face me. I grow tired of this conversation." And she assumes her defensive stance once more.
all right, let's go. Roll for initiative, or we keep the same one.
We're just gonna do a team up round where you guys get to go in whatever order you choose, since she's already elected to go last.
All right. So who wants to go first? Oh, okay. So first, I feel like Copper should go first because like you you have a very big role in this plan. We are counting on you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks
So
so much.
you'd have to go at least this close to be able to hit her with enthrall. If you
Okay.
can see my ruler. Yep.
Huh? Look at this.
Where we going? Do you move back?
That's funny. Here, I'll help you out. Oops. All right, so you go to enthrall them with your foxy wiles, and they have to roll against it. Ooh, and she fails. That's interesting. You guys can do so much stuff to her now. All right, so Copper walks in, does the foxy moves, dances with her tails, and the next thing you know, she's still in her defensive posture, but you see her getting really distracted, looking around at all these butterflies, unable to move, trying her hardest to break out of it. And let me pull up the warrior stuff,
So
which I haven't looked at in a minute.
next, I start chanting this cacophonous roar of just noises and shouts and tongues, trying to channel all of my energy to blind this poor woman.
I love it. So she's already distracted by butterflies. We're doubling down on that and gonna try to. Yep. All right. Let me see right here. Um, okay. Yeah, I had to read my old writing. I hadn't looked at it in a minute. So yeah, she's got nothing to break herself free from this. Oh no, she actually does.
Oh no.
So you see her as she breaks free of the mental strain on her, spending a charge as a reaction. So she's used up her reaction and used one of her endurance charges, her surge charges as a warrior. And, uh, yep, it says upon failing a provincial losing mana and morale, expend a surge charge to succeed and prevent the mana or morale damage. All right, so she breaks free of your thing, your enthrall, but definitely it did have an effect on her, thankfully, and she had to use up some of her charges for that. So,
All right.
awesome. So, plan not quite going 100% as planned because of her being a warrior at a high level, but you guys still have all your other turns besides Copper stuff.
All
And so
right.
you start your
So,
chant.
but I can still attack even
Yep.
while I'm chanting. So,
And 12 range would be 60 feet, so around here.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do a leaping shot. I want to keep some range so I don't go like too far into. Oh, wait, no. I'm very
I'll
far away.
move you back. Oh, yeah. You can move
Uh,
your 6 squares forwards and spend an endurance if you need to dash.
two,
3, 4, 5,
six, and
6 to
then
get you right
another
here.
six. Okay.
You're actually close
One,
enough to
two,
use your
three.
barrage move if you wanted.
Yeah, I think I'll use barrage instead. That
Yeah.
way I can do multiple attacks.
Yep. Roll your 3 attacks. You don't have to worry about adding anything because unless you crit, you're not hitting her because she is very high defense right now. So you're just Hail Marying for that 16.5% chance.
Yeah. Two, three.
Nope, not quite.
Oh,
So you throw
ooh.
your 3 spears and yoink them back each time. And unfortunately for you, she blocks each of them with her blade effortlessly and says you'll have to try better than that next time. All right, so Abomination Steve goes, rushes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just rushes straight at her. And Tinker says, Steve, strike her if she dares move. And then he goes to cast his spell at her, which is, let me just look at Necromancer real quick. I believe that Hex is going to be, since you're trying to blind, um,
Yeah.
you're going for a blind, so he is going to do vulnerability. So what vulnerability does is it makes them have to roll their saving throw, excuse me, their prevention rolls at disadvantage. Meaning if they fail this, um, they will have to always roll for 2 times and take the worst outcome. And she barely does not succeed. And so she is vulnerable, which I don't have a good symbol for that, so we're just going to use I don't know, marked. All right. So now just remind me when we do your stuff, we have to take the worst of the 2 outcomes. All right, blunt force
All right.
rushes forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And he just takes up a defensive stance as well to block. Come at me, he shouts. Ant. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Runs over here. And also, defense is a better discretion against such a strong opponent. Also goes and takes a defensive stance. Kitlu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Goes and hides to try to get an advantage on his next shot. And I believe he's actually just barely able to hide, and then pops out from around the side of the corner right here
Really?
to take a snipe shot, which might somehow hit her. Let's see. It's 1d6 plus 5 from being hidden, plus 10 from the base, and plus 5 from his technique. And 22 is, in fact, enough to strike her. And so she is going to take 4 physique plus 9 damage, so 13 damage. As she has finally been hit with an attack. So that's 128, that's 13. Alright, as she has taken some damage but seems very healthy and hale, I will reveal her resources. Alright, from our first shot. And then he says, why not? I'll take another. And does not hit with his next shot. Alright, and that is, I believe, everybody's turns now. And so we are at the top of the round, and it is her turn to go. And so she rushes forwards. 1, 2, and gets attacked by Abomination Steve for a backstab, which misses. Rushes past Ant, who goes for a Helm Splitter. And I believe that does hit. And so she's going to take 2 physique, so 5, 10, plus 9 damage. So 19 damage. Alright, so she's taken some pretty good hits so far. And she rushes, so let's make sure I did my distance correct. She rushes from Steve to 6 to rush right in between both of you guys. And she
Oh,
starts doing Blade Storm to strike you both.
oh, she experienced because
Yeah, she knows what she's doing. Alright, so that is going to be Blade Storm. It is, I believe, plus 5. Yeah, 5 plus a roll of 3 plus her technique is 7. So that's 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 5 is 15. So does that beat your armor? Your defense, rather? I know it beats our squishy casters. And Mr. Delson, does that beat yours?
it's what?
It was a 15.
Damn, beat me by 1.
By 1. Meet or exceed. Alright. So you are going to take physique plus 9 weapon damage. But she has 7 physique, so you take 16 damage.
I'm dead. I'm
Oh,
dead.
oh man. So her first attack comes out swinging, knocking you both into death's door from a distance, as she is starting to humble your party. Ooh. Luckily, you do still have health potions. You were given fresh potions at the start of your fight.
Yeah.
She then goes for Tinker Skull in the
Oh,
distance, and goes for a precise strike on him, and hits with the precise strike for her second attack of her turn. which will knock him out, I believe, because it's 7 plus 6. Oh, nope, he's got 1 hit point left. She goes for her third attack and critically hits this poor bastard at 1 health. So he is very much at death's door. And then rushes over,
Oh,
blows more stamina to rush over and attack Kitlu. Because high level warriors can do a lot of stuff in one turn, unfortunately. And goes for a precise strike against Kitlu. Gets a critical hit to knock him out. And then that is her turn. You see her breathe a little heavily and heals herself slightly with her surge charge that she used to get that stamina back, which was body stats, so 5 plus 8. No, it's not 8. What is it? 6 plus body stats. No, 5 plus body stats, what it is. So she heals for 10 hit points. Okay. And so, rough first round. So, Ant and Blunt Force and Abomination Steve are still up. And what do you guys think they should do?
run. Yeah, we we should not did this.
The fun thing is I'm playing
Yeah,
100% by the rules, not cheating or anything, and it's just the high-level warriors are scary.
yeah, we're a little too low level for this. The 16 damage on the first turn. I mean, all I have was 16 health, so
Yeah, it was just exactly what she needed to get you. All right, and so Blunt Force runs in and starts chanting something and says, "If you guys can hold on just a little longer, just 1 round, I can maybe heal you." And he also goes to strike her with a hit of his mace, trying to weaken her. He goes for a precise strike and just barely hits. And so she's going to do half damage for her next round. So just remind me that she's weakened. Just put the shock thing on her. Okay. And so his chant continues as he says, you know, "All Father, guide my mace, hit her in the face, and heal my companions as I brace." And so Anth, blowing more stamina, has to rush over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. As he blows more stamina to rush over and get in her face, and goes for a helm splitter, which does connect. And that was 2 physique plus 9, I believe. Let me double check on helm splitter. Please get helm splitter. It's kind of hard playing multiple classes simultaneously.
yeah.
Oh, that's the wrong document. There's Berserker. Realm Splitter, yep, 2 physique plus 9. So that is 5 is 10 plus 9 is 19 damage. So 104 is reduced to 3. Math hard this late in the day. Alright, and he goes for a second Helm Splitter, trying to cut through her armor, and barely does not connect with that last one. But he does blow a Rage Charge to try 1 more Helm Splitter for extra damage, and unfortunately does not connect with it. Abomination Steve can move 8, so we're going to see if he can get there in time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Blows some stamina. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gets right behind her for another set of backstabs. Trying his best. And I think that hits. Let's see. It's 5 plus being behind her is another 5. So that's 10. Plus a roll was 4. So that's 14. Plus his 3 is 17. Barely not hitting her 18 defense, being a tanky fighter. type character, and so in full armor. And so his first backstab does not connect. His second backstab also just barely does not connect on this absolute beast of a woman. And then now, unfortunately for everybody, it is her turn. After you guys have to roll your death saving roll or pop your potions.
I'm gonna pop my potion. Yeah.
If you guys aren't out of the fight quite yet, alright, so you are no longer in death's door. You heal up 10 health points from your potions. And that does take your turn's action, unfortunately, because it's the end of your turn when that happens. You can
Okay.
move. You can decide to move away, though. Um,
Okay. I, I'm gonna go run and hide. So
Kitlu's going to try to do something really dangerous. He's going to try to fly away and move, which means she gets to take an attack against him and critically hits him. He's like, tries to fly away and gets knocked down again. So that's called a punishing strike. If you try to leave the range of a melee combatant, you can be freely attacked. And so she went for a precise strike on him as he tried to move away, because she had plenty of stamina and reserves to do so, and she took Kitlu out again. And so it is actually the end of Kitlu's turn, and because he went down again, he has to make a death save to see if he's living or dying. And he is alive, just barely. Alrighty. So we are now to her turn. Being surrounded by a bunch of enemies, she goes for again one of those area effect blade storm attacks and critically strikes everybody. Oh, the dice today are vicious. So everybody around her just went down. And Kitlu, being hit again, has to make another death save, dies on a 2 or lower, and he rolled a 2. We have our first fatality of the match. And
oh,
so he gets poofed away, and you see clerics tending to him in the distance, healing him to full as he is out of the fight. Quite
that's
a
not
rough,
good.
quite a rough set of circumstances.
Oh dear.
And no free healing from our cleric who was chanting. Rushes over to Tinker Skull, precise strikes him as well, takes him out, rushes over to you, precise strikes, critically hits, rushes down here with the last dash of stamina, precise strikes you, and luckily you manage to block it at the last moment. And then she burns a charge to get some stamina back and heal, goes for her final strike of a critical hit. All of the opponents from Team Blasting Diamond are incapacitated. We have the winner, the current and reigning champion, Leolin Fangbreaker. And you see her kind of get in the middle of the crowd and just start cheering
Oh
and,
dear.
yeah, just kind of loving the praise, taking on 6 people at once. Um, she does say she had such a good time fighting you guys that she gives each of you 3,000 more credits. So I think that brings us to how much now for your credits?
6,000.
6,000. She did double or nothing, and she had such a fun time. She said, I'll just give you the payout anyways. And so now we have plenty of money to go shopping with. You are full
Yay!
citizens. She has decided that you've passed the trials splendidly and gave her a really good time, and that she would like to honor your achievement with a feast.
Yay! We're gonna eat good.
She
Yeah.
gonna eat us.
Oh, I hope not.
No, she already ate you guys. It's fine. You got devoured by that woman.
Yeah.
So the fun thing with warriors, by that level, they get 5 attacks per turn, and they have plenty of stamina to blow and get with their charges. So for a high level warrior, like taking on a group of enemies like that is what they love to do. It's like their biggest, you know, fight boner that they can get. They just love it. And so
Yeah.
so she enjoyed the fight, welcomes everybody to a feast. You guys go back to Madame Eva's drippy bucket, her little establishment, and enjoy a fine feast. Now, as citizens, full-fledged citizens of Maiden's Fall. And so, for our new friend, for Copper, we need to explain a little bit about Maiden's Fall so you can choose your preferred district. So, there are 7
All
districts
right.
in the city. One of them is a gambling district slash kind of Vegasy style anything goes district called Sin Solace. The current district that you're in is called the Yard, where they have all the military districts and the patrol folks. There's a district called Muse Home, where they have the party district, where all the fine dining and wining happens. There is a merchant district called the Bazaar, where you can sell and trade for better results on your coin, if you're a member. And there's the Travelers District that gives you free health potions and other things for aiding in your travels outside of the city. There is a merchant, or excuse me, a production district called Sweatbrow if you like to make a bunch of stuff. And then lastly, the 7th district is Sanctuary, a district where you have a bunch of scholarly learning, a bunch of healers, clerics, like that district. It's a place of learning, of religion, of relaxation. So, does any of those 7 districts sound like more what your character might like?
Mm, well, uh, the military one.
The which one?
The
The military?
military.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
military district. So you really had fun in the arena and you liked everything that happened here. So you want to become Leyland's citizen. And so she grasps your arm and welcomes you well as the new citizen of the Yard. That's awesome. And so as the Yard, you can get.
Sadly, oh, my fault.
Oh, it's all good. Go on.
Sadly, I'd have to go with Sweatbrow. I'd rather be in like more production area so I can make more jewelry and maybe possibly set up a little side business.
I love it. And were you on the boat where we got the pearls? Is that right?
Yes.
Yep, so you can turn those pearls into magic items if you wish, especially easy now that you're a member of Sweatbrow. Is that something you'd like to work on?
Yeah.
Okay, so you spend 1,000 gold in materials to buy precious electrums, platinums, and other filigrees to go upon your ring, and you make a powerful pearl ring, or at least you try to. So let's go ahead and do our first ever crafting roll of the game. I'm excited to see how it turns out. So go ahead and roll your d6, and I'll tell you what you add to
All
it.
right.
Ooh, that's a good roll. So let me pull up the document because I don't want to get it wrong. If I could find my own stuff. Here we go. So, crafting. And you are a proficient crafter. And so your difficulty challenge is a 9 to successfully complete it. Um, let's see here. So your bonuses, though, are pretty good. Let's see. So you're making a challenge roll. And so for this, it's going to be your your body stat because you're really having to use fine, delicate motions to craft something. And so it's going to be double your body stat plus your roll.
Uh, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
it's
blanked
fine.
out.
No, it's fine. It's going to be double your body stat plus your roll, which I believe is
Okay.
8.
Double my body stuff. Oh, my body stuff. Okay, so yeah, my body stat is 4. So
Okay, perfect. So you get 4 plus the 4, which is exactly the 8 that you needed to beat this challenge difficulty. And so you successfully craft a magical ring. What type of magic did you feel like you wanted to put in the ring? Is it a free cast of a spell? Is it something that enhances your one of your attributes? What do you think your ring would have had?
what do you mean by free cast?
So once per day, you could cast one of your chants, for example, for free.
Okay, yeah, I would like that.
Okay, so you have a ring of spell storing or of chant storing, and
Yeah.
it will allow you to cast one of your chants per day for free.
Okay.
Awesome. So you got the first magic item ever made in the game. Cool.
Yay.
Yeah. And you still got a few pearls left. I think we had at least, what, 3 pearls maybe? I can't remember. But yeah, I don't remember exactly how many pearls we had. I think it was around 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So we could do that. So, my brain's not working. Da, 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 da. I will remember what I was going to say. It will just take a second. Um, yes, that's right. So we said you spent 1,000 gold on the materials to make one. So if you'd like, you could spend another 1,000 or 2,000 to make 2 more. You might want to.
I'll save it for now.
Okay, that works. So you still got your 2 magical pearls. You still got quite a bit of resources left. You spent 1,000, so I think you still have 5,000 left. And for our new member of the yard, what would you like to go shopping for?
Um, what's the option?
Plenty of things. You could go shopping for a new magical item. So maybe an upgraded orb that you currently got. You might want to go get a magical robe of some sort. You could try to get some magical bracers that are stronger than your current ones. All sorts of options. Maybe you could get a frog mount if you're lucky and find the right
Ooh.
person selling them.
Mm, imagine the first option.
Magical orb.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So you head over to the bazaar to look through their wares, and you do find a very interesting looking magical orb. We're going to do an arcana roll to see if you can understand how effective this orb is and what it does. So go ahead and give me a roll and then add your mind stat to it, times 2. Okay, so we rolled a 2, and your mind is +3. So that's 6 plus 2 is 8. So, yes, looking at this orb, you can tell it radiates power, and it would make your spell potency +2. So it would make it harder for enemies to resist your spells. You find another orb beside it that has slightly different properties. It would increase your attack accuracy of your spells, which is the majority of your spells, by +1. So which one sounds better for you?
The resistance one.
Okay, so you take the resistance orb because you found how amazing your enthrall ability was, and you want to be able to double down on that when you have to. And so you have an orb of enthralling, and it also is going to let you cast enthrall once more per day. So you get 3 uses of your enthrall spell per day. So you guys will have to remember that because I will totally forget that between now and next session. But glad we got to spend some of that
Alright.
money. And so you've got 3,000 left for Hopper. And we got 5,000 left for our other character whose name I'm suddenly blanking on. On
Corn.
Corin. Yes. Awesome, awesome.
Alright.
and we can call it there if you guys like, or we can keep playing, whatever you guys prefer. It would
Yeah.
be a good stopping point, or we can keep going.
It's close to 9 o'clock for me. I think I'm gonna call it a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I'm getting kind of hungry. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so
All
much
right.
for playing. I really had a lot of fun. We always like to do what is
Yeah.
called the three questions at the end. It's the coolest thing that happened for your character or thing you like the most, the thing you wish could be improved, and then lastly, the thing that you learned. So let's start with Corin.
The thing that I liked most. Oh, I like getting eaten by the frog the most. I almost had a pet horse frog, and that was amazing to me. Uh,
Yeah.
thing. What was the next question? I'm a little
Thing you wish was
confused.
improved or thing you didn't like.
Uh, I don't really think I have a thing that I think needs to be improved. It's mostly just something I feel like as I get more used with this system and testing and all that, that's all I can really say that needs improvement. But that's
Okay.
mostly like me just getting used to it. So
Yeah, so more like just personal improvement kind of stuff. And you're doing really good. You know, you were using a lot of your attacks with your chance and getting some good damage in there, moving yourself across the battlefield really well with them. So, you know, you covered a lot of distance in that one turn with the leap strike.
yeah, thank you.
Cool. And then you learned.
I learned how. I feel like I learned how to work together more, like how to be more tactical with my chance and stuff like that.
Yeah, you worked
So
really good as a team. You made that cleric super tanky. You buffed people up really well. I actually forgot that we had buffed up Kitlu, so he technically would have done more damage to her. She wouldn't have died though, so it wouldn't have changed the encounter. But that one critical hit he got on her would have actually done double damage. So really good play on there. Um, that's one of
yeah,
those things. Definitely remember that to help the DM remember because sometimes we forget. So that's what I could have improved on. I could have remembered that for your more awesome moment. All right, and then Copper. You ready for your three questions?
Sure.
All right, so what was your favorite moment?
Um. uh, getting absolutely destroyed.
getting absolutely destroyed. Okay.
That was fun. I loved it. You got humbled after beating everybody so easily, and then you ran into the brick of a woman, the brick house. All right, so what do you think could be improved, or you thought was like a little bit of a pain point, sometimes hard for you maybe?
Um. I don't. I don't see anything that could be improved. More of a case in my part because I was confused half the time.
Oh, it's fine. You were doing really well, especially for your very first time ever. Is this the first time you've done anything like a tabletop game like this?
Yeah.
Oh, you did wonderful, especially considering that. Like, geez, yeah, you did excellent. You made really cool choices. You got a cool character built. Um, I never thought about combining the fox race with a sorcerer. It gives you some crowd control that you normally wouldn't have. You know, being able to put that frog to sleep really helped that encounter go a lot easier. Because, you know, technically you guys could have all got eaten by frogs, then that would have been really hard to, you know, deal with. So that was really, really cool. And then you learned, I guess is the last question.
To I think I learned to not underestimate higher level.
Yep, yep. And she is now your matron, and so you can always call upon her if you're in a really dire situation, and she might be able to come help you. So cool beans. Awesome. Well, again, thank you both for playing. I had an absolute joy running it for you guys. And if you want to play again, we're doing it every day at 6 o'clock. We can continue where we left off here, or we can do a one shot and do a whole new situation. Um, we didn't get to do quite as much role play today, but we definitely would have a lot more time for
Yeah,
role play on the next session. That's something I think I could improve on. Um, we did three fights in a row, though, so that was kind of a little bit expected given the situation. So awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you guys again. You guys have a good, wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to go get some pizza.
All right.
Mm,
All right, it's been John Horry playing Pathways to Adventure, day 21 of our goal of hitting 100 games in 100 days. Thank you all for watching if you in fact have, and have a good rest of your night. Bye bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.